Welcome to the Brilliantly Sexy Show with Devina Kaur. Our intention is to inspire, awaken and create global leaders using the Sexy Brilliant philosophy. Discover sacred wisdom and the benefits of self-leadership with your host, author of Too Fat, Too Loud, Too Ambitious and founder of Sexy Brilliant Global Revolution, Devina Kaur.
Hi everybody, welcome to Brilliantly Sexy with Devina Kaur, and today it is my honor and my pleasure to have the first roundtable of 2021 with Nicola, who's joining us all the way from Portugal, Galactic Greg, who's here from New Jersey, and Robin Nordling, who's here from Alberta. Edmonton, Calgary, but we're all here and we want to welcome you so much to the Brilliantly Sexy Show with Devina Kaur. And the Sexy Brilliant nonprofit mission is all about removing toxic shame and raising human consciousness. And today we're going to be talking about overcoming addictions. As many of you may know, I am in recovery from addictions, and that's why I wanted to invite these experts to talk about what it's like to overcome an addiction, but also the consequences of overcoming addictions and having addictions in your life, on your mental health, on your emotional health, spiritually, as well as, of course, physically. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know where you are and where and who do you know here and how do you love the show. Thank you so much for being here. Nicola, Galactic Greg, welcome. Thank you so much. Please unmute yourself. And I'm going to start with Nicola. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, Devina. Firstly, namaste. Thank you. It's such a privilege to be invited here. I actually live in Spain, not Portugal.
Thank you. Same continent.
On the beautiful coast of Malaga, Spain. Well, I'm a mother of four. I'm an energy worker, healer, intuitive. I'm a Gaia, beautiful Mother Earth keeper. And I'm all about getting back to nature where we are now. The world needs to get back to nature, to restore our health, share our wisdoms, our experiences, and just feel great again, feel good about ourselves again, and get to the core of healing. And we can all heal ourselves. And when we take the first step, God rearranges everything for your new reality, and everything just synchronizes with you. And I'm joyous to share my teaching, my experiences, and hopefully some relief and ease for our viewers who can take away some techniques and apply it to their lives now, instantly, and start feeling good and getting back into their truth.
Thank you, Nicola. And let's move to Galactic Greg for his introduction. And I just want to take a moment to see if you guys can hear us on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, say hi to us because I'm not sure what's going on. So thank you for that. Sorry, Greg, your turn.
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Devina. It's wonderful and a true blessing to be here, not just with you, but with all of you here today. Nicola, my adopted mother, and Robin, my brother. Yeah, hello everyone, and good to be here with the audience today as well. I am an herbalist, studying herbalist, a health enthusiast, a writer, an empath, and a wanderer. And this year I have I stepped into the role of digital soldier on the front lines of this spiritual battle between good and evil. And it was an amazing thing. I just felt called to
Greg,
speak the truth.
Greg, somehow your voice is a little bit muffled. It feels as if you were speaking like
Okay.
through something robotic. I don't know what's happening. So
Oh,
just try again.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, something was going on there. I saw my picture was fluctuating too. So, all right. So for those that, can we still hear me? Or
You were a
no?
little bit muffled. Maybe log in and log out, because sometimes it happens with technology.
How about now without the
Yes.
headset?
Yes, we can hear you.
Better? Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Third time's the charm. So for those that didn't hear, I am an herbalist, a health enthusiast, a writer, an empath, and a wanderer who, at the beginning of this year, this past year, 2020, found myself becoming a digital soldier, rushing to the front lines on this battlefield, on the spiritual battlefield between good and evil. I truly felt called by the higher power, not to just necessarily speak my truth, but to speak the truth. I was awakened to the horrors that were going on in the world, and I felt overwhelmingly compelled to share those with people and to assist in Mother Gaia's not just spiritual ascension, but the physical ascension. I felt the need to be a part of the new earth and to help others witness it and celebrate it. And with my vast knowledge of herbs and everything holistic, I have a true passion for bringing people back to the basics. And the basics are nature and Mother Gaia, and that's where our home is. And that's where we belong. So I have a deep and utter passion for sharing that with people and for speaking the truth and for speaking my truth. And yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to be here on the front lines of a spiritual battle that's still, somewhat ongoing. But I see the light, and I see the conclusion of this, and it is beautiful. I can't wait to share that with people and to help others part of it.
Well, it's also hard work, Greg. So I commend you and
Yeah.
and everybody who's here. It's not easy to show on your truth, and our truth itself is changing every day because there's so much information coming out there. So just stay strong in that and have faith in yourself and faith in the world around you, because we are making a difference. So thank you for that, Greg. And Robin, thank you, Robin. We've never officially met, but please introduce yourself. And Robin has this wisdom that has to be shared. So he's here, and we're all students today, and every student is also a teacher. So thank you, Robin. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Devina, and so grateful to be here with these amazing people. And yeah, I find myself in very like-minded company. I too myself have been on a journey, a broken soul looking for mending, and through that discovered a connection to source, and always, I guess, found that the voice was always there. I just never paid it much attention until necessity, I guess, forced it upon me. So I'm really grateful for the journey I went through, and through that I've undergone a lot of personal healing, dealing with essentially fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue. So extremely bad fascial and joint pain all over the body, headaches, pressure, irritable bowel syndrome, just the whole gamut of kind of everything you can suffer without it being terminal. So learning through pain, that was my educator. And then going through those trials, I learned to apply consciousness in new ways, to try to discover truths. I wasn't content with just the reaction. I wanted to understand why I was reacting, and why I was being provoked, and what was this leading to. So through asking questions, I found answers would come through, through spirit guides, God, whatever we want to refer to it as. So I'm very blessed to have undergone the process myself, and now I'm a practicing healer. I do massage therapy in order to bring the individual closer to their truth. And when we connect with our truth, the reasons for our pain, our discomfort, they're all revealed. And really, it's the individual that gets to do the healing. So I get to facilitate healing events, really. I don't have magical powers that I make people healed. It's I understand the body, I understand pain, I understand nerve connections. So I'm very excited to be here to share what I've been working on for so long within the self, and then with my amazing clients that have been journeying with me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. And just like I at the start of the show, I was very nervous because roundtables are harder to manage, and my ADD brain goes off everywhere. So that's why I'm like. But as I'm listening to you guys, my energy is. Is it right to say that my energy level is changing? And I want to know from everybody who's tuning in, how are you guys feeling? And is this presence, Nicola, Greg, Robin, myself, and of course, all the people who are watching us live, is your energy shifting because you are surrounded by so much love? Please let us know. And I'm going to go back to Nicola. Nicola, just coming back to your journey. You are a healer, an empath as well, now in Spain. So what is your, the overcoming addictions, and I'm in recovery from addictions. Actually, that is how Sexy Brilliant happened. And I just want to mention this, that when my arranged marriage ended, I kind of fell into this love addiction because I thought that I grew up in India, I'm born and raised in India, and I was always told that your identity is based on your relationship. So I always felt that having a relationship was who I am. And then, of course, being a divorced full-time single mother. And then it was kind of like this idea that I wanted somebody outside of me to save me is what led to Sexy Brilliant. We are a registered nonprofit foundation as well to remove toxic shame and raise human consciousness. So that's why this addiction is, I want to talk about this, and I want to share what Nicola, and please take it over, go into the spiritual side of it, or whatever, wherever you were guided.
Thank you, Devina. Yes. Okay. So from a very young age, I've been lucky enough to always be connected to nature. I used to visit my grandmother's house every weekend and live in the garden. And I didn't want to go indoors. As everybody else, we were born into conditionings, into this centralized system, hospital ran schooling, just limiting beliefs. And also, I absolutely respect and love a men's role, but the woman's role was much more oppressed when I was a child. I'm 54 linear time now. And so as a child, yes, I've suffered lots of abuse, overcome sexual abuse, social abuse, even physical abuse. And so as a child, as I said, the balance was, I always felt connected to myself, even though I was in my reality growing with life happening to me. But I would always look towards nature and get a sense of strength. I was always quite a rebel. and I would question things, or totally a rebel. I'm a bit of a goddess. I used to always call myself a golden rebel. And so when I was in my grandmother's garden, I would literally just sit by the stream and contemplate, just love being in nature, barefoot. I was a bit of a nomad and walk everywhere. Go and, if I was hungry, I'd go and pick the fruits or vegetables, just pick them out. My grandmother had one of those ceramic tubs that had a tap over it, and I'd just go and sort of wash it under it and eat. And even my grandmother used to say, oh, the grandchildren are asking for sweets and you just want to chew on celery. And and so I've always been very healthy, very organic in my nature. And so fast forward, I came on holiday to Spain, and I met my Spanish husband on holiday. I came with my firstborn daughter. She was born in England. I was a single mother. And when I came on holiday, it was just like where I was brought to. It was like God just plucked me and took me to a place I needed to be. I can now see, looking back, that it was part of my journey to prepare me for where we are today. And when I had my first daughter, I literally fell on my feet. I was given such a confidence, and through this pregnancy and being a single mother, just my whole God's armor, my spirit guides, everything was presented to me through the miracle of my first child. And everything became clear. And so when I came on holiday to Spain, I fell in love, and I moved in 8 months. And I was brought to the most incredible village in the Sierra in Spain. And I was 70 kilometers away from the nearest city, 10, 12 kilometers from another village. And I literally lived 19 years in nature and finding myself, my spiritual journey. I would go in hiking, take the kids would be barefoot. I'd take them, and they'd be eating, plucking, picking fruits and vegetables, and we'd just sort of wipe them off and eat them organically. And clean water. I was just observing everything and holistically. The village people is incredible in a community. I was blessed to live in this village. It was a community where the old wives and the grandmothers and grandfathers, everyone had an allotment and lived very from the land. And this is what I focused on. And I came to combine everything together. And obviously, I did have addictions. I had addictions to certain foods. I had addictions, attachment to a sort of not stereotyped, but to my ancestral memory of the type of man who was my husband. My husband he's a wonderful man, but it was sort of a reflection of what I knew, because they say until you find yourself, you just copy ancestrally the genetics in you rather than choosing from a sovereign state independently. And so, yes, I brought it all together, and what I've learned from this and where I am now and what I'm teaching is energetic work. And I prepare and help women. Honestly, I'm so blessed with this. I feel privileged to be where I am now, because my calling is to clear women's ancestral baggage from 7 generations, from mothers, grandmothers, how we've been treated or let be treated, or conditioned, and limiting beliefs, insecurities, just all the toxicity in our behaviors and reactions. And as I found myself, I've learned how to be center, how to alchemize, how to meditate, take my shadow work, and honor realities and honor emotions that we feel. We're always going to feel a reaction to certain circumstances, but in our sovereign state, in silence, in the beauty of our truth, we connect to God, and we are armored, and we're blessed, and we get the answers, and we listen, and we apply it, and it's just amazing. We go with the flow. We're guided correctly, and it just opens up from there. And so today, where we are, women have to know that they are in such a powerful situation. We are sovereign beings. We're bodies of light with a body. We're spirit and infinite, eternal energy, creator source connected to God. And we've got this vehicle on the earth, and we're getting back to it. We've been given this insight, this alignment, the cleansing, the DNA upgrades, the light codes. Mother Earth is bountiful, abundance, and when we learn to know ourselves, everything comes together. And so now my focus is the privilege of helping women to free their baggage, and we're going to birth the children with zero karma. We are going to avoid and prevent trauma, because we're going back to nature. Babies from conception are going to be conceived in an amazing toxin-free body, cleansed and ready to be a host for this child to be conceived. And then through beautiful positive mentality, through gnosis, through diet, through good habits, through cleaning all of your addictions, in compassion. This is my work, because it's been my experience. So only the truth through your experience is your conviction, and you place, not that you do the work for the woman, but as this woman is in your energy field, she will get like a taste of the energy that she can hold, and I work with this. And the most beautiful thing is for the woman to really see that men are stepping in the divine masculine. The men are ready. They're so excited, more than they even know. When the woman collaborates with the man, with her partner, and she reassures them, she includes them, they work together in their sacred place in their energy, it's beautiful. And I've created this hypno birthing program, and the blissful breath, because the breath is everything. The breath is our sort of spiritual social worker, because it just cleanses you. It's like an energetic shower, where a physical shower, you go and shower with water and you cleanse your physical body. But the breath and breathing in the blissful breath is just an energetic shower where you're cleansing, because we all take on, sometimes without knowing, inadvertently, we take on people's energies. And if we just have this amazing blissful breath practice every morning.
You know what? When I chat to Nicola, what she teaches, and I feel like having another baby. So thank you, Nicola. I mean,
you're going to have Devina, I'm going to blissfully birth.
I gotta find my. We're gonna come back.
Child, this is what I'm getting to. My last child, it's all through my truth, through my experience.
Oh, wow.
I had my last baby at 48.
Ooh,
Ages and number.
I got time. I'm so excited. I want to come back, Nicola. I want to come back to this, but let's go around the table, and I want to bring in Greg. Greg, tell us a little bit about your journey of overcoming addiction.
Well, my journey of addictions is a multitude of addictions, and it started at a pretty young age. Because at a very young age, I was brought to, a lot of doctors, a lot of different specialists.
Greg, we're losing you again. Your voice is a little bit muffled.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Every time I speak, the video starts getting wobbly, and I don't know what's going on. Maybe
could you please log out and log back in completely? The same link and everything. Robin,
All right. Yep.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Greg, please tell us a little bit about your journey, and especially curious to know about how you had so many health issues. How did you heal yourself, but also addictions as well?
Yeah. So yes, my journey. I experience addictions in a little bit of a different form. And that goes back to trauma in past life. That's a scar on the soul. So I have an easy time letting go of the physical reality. If I want to cut something out for 2 months, I can do it. It's not that big of a deal for me, thankfully, because I'm already partially attached, which allows me to be detached here. When you know there's something else, it's hard to fully invest here. So I always had that feeling that, there's something else. But my addiction was manifested in other ways. It was in self-abuse. It was pushing myself. It was taking too much from me. I was addicted to what the human version of me could produce in forms of feelings, emotions, glandular secretions, from exercise, from running, discovering the runner's high, and being able to go past that point and feel like you can go forever and get to a steady state. So I discovered, my addiction was pushing the boundaries of the physical body. And that's a form of abuse.
Actually, I have a lot of extremist friends, and some of them do these runs, overnight runs, and 3-day runs, and I look at them and I'm like, what exactly are you running away from? So I'm so glad we're talking about this, because this is a really important one, right? We're all escaping from something, or most of us. I'm not going to say all, but because most of us are escaping from something. And what is it that you're escaping from? So that is what I want to know from everybody who's watching the show. listening on the replay as well. And Robin, please tell us more about this. This is a fascinating topic, and I know that many of us are going to need this.
Yeah. Yes, and you're right. We're either chasing something or running after something. And I think in my case, I was chasing a higher version of self, and the only tools I had at hand were, okay, I'm a physical being, so I max out my potential physically. And that's kind of what I thought. And I made a pact with myself when I was young, because I was pretty aware even as a youngster. I was really quiet and really observed, daydreamed all the time, and still do. That's that psychic connection through the divine feminine. That's the right brain, the creative. It's, expression without bounds. So I was really comfortable in that, and I understood, okay, well, if I'm here and living, I need a goal, I need a purpose. So I said, okay, I'm going to do all I can to max out my potential in every way as a human. That's my personal secret pact, because I'm aware of talking to myself, I'm aware of the self. So from a young age, I did that, and pursued and loved competing, loved the expression of competition. Winning had no importance. It was being there in the moment. So that's where I was finding that higher self that I was trying to find, was in that moment. And that moment can be achieved through sports or accidents, near-death experiences, that timelessness, when you have an adrenal release into your body, and it opens up vortices, and all of a sudden time stands still. And I always marveled at how can thoughts, when you're not in that zone, take 10, 15 minutes to think of something. But when you're in that zone, you can play out 100 different outcomes within a fraction of a second, and live those out as if you're experiencing them. And that's where I became really intrigued with consciousness. And that's what quantum computing is. And we would never have invented it if humans weren't able to create it. So yeah, let that be known to everyone, that every technology that we get to experience, it's a left-brained interpretation of God's source and how it manifests through the divine feminine. And then we take out the minerals, and then we recreate it through reverse engineering ourselves, and recreate it, and then have an external structure of God's gifts, essentially. So we are in this venue getting to create as a God, but we are not the God, because we're only manipulating energy, right? We don't create the energy. So consciousness became, I guess, the newfound addiction. And that became a healthier addiction than that flow state, because the flow state, you got to put your body through a lot, or you have to drive way too fast and be ready to fly off the road and have that instant. And that's not a healthy thing. You might not make it, right? So it translated into a desire to find the root of everything. And really, we may find here today that may be what all addiction is really based on. What self, or what version of self are we really trying to achieve or attain? And is the substance or activity just a transport mechanism to get us there, because we have ideas or fears that are preventing us from getting there on our own? So yeah, now I am able to go outside of time. I've had it happen without substances, or without extreme adrenaline release events. It's provoked spiritually now. yeah, putting a positive spin on addiction, like all of pain, I feel it's spirit communicating to us. So to acknowledge we are addicted is probably a really healthy thing, because then we are now empowered to find what the addiction is hiding or what it's leading to ultimately.
Beautiful. Thank you, Robin. And we're going to come back to, I want to know more about your journey and how, you said something about acknowledging your addictions, acknowledging who you are, because um, it's all about knowing yourself. It's about knowing not only your good side, but it's also knowing your not so good side. And when we have that, that is true power, because when we know who we are in all of our authenticity, we can then practice self-acceptance. And by self-acceptance, I mean radical self-acceptance, because self-acceptance then leads to more self-love. So, we're going to come back to this, and we're going to come back to different so much gnosis here. And I'm going to go to Greg now. Thank you, Greg. So
Yeah. Can everybody hear me now?
we can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
We love you.
I love you too. Thank you guys, and sorry for the tech issues. I don't know what's going on, but different computer, so we'll see how this works. But going into the addictions, they began for me at a very, very young age. Because at a very young age, I started seeing, unbeknownst to a 5-year-old as to why. But I was taken to, doctors and specialists, and I remember just there's something being wrong with me. And that continued for many, many years. As I continued to grow and progress, I just was taken to more and more doctors and more specialists, and placed in more rooms with people standing around me and asking me to perform tests and put blocks together and write this on a piece of paper. And I remember, having my parents come in the room, and these doctors speaking with them privately and writing prescriptions and saying, yeah, he's got this, he's got that. And I guess you could say at an early age, I became addicted to fear and shame, and addicted to confusion. What is going on? What is wrong with me? And why do I have to take these pills? And it started out with that, and that led to, just it started with that, and then it became an addiction to that lifestyle eventually. To make a longer story a little bit shorter, you begin to believe those things that they're telling you, and you become addicted to that falsehood, and therefore you become addicted to that lifestyle. And it continued for me to the age of 25. I became, an alcohol eventually as I became old enough. Alcohol, smoking, women, sex, relationships became an addiction as well. And those addictions were to distract me from the real problems and from the real addictions. So for me, it was a multitude of just darkness is the only way that I can describe it. And by the age of 25, I had truly, had enough. I couldn't proceed forward anymore under this veil. that I was under. I chose not to be confused anymore. I chose not to be shackled anymore. I chose not to be in fear. And I chose not to be addicted to these aspects of these falsehoods of my life. And I reached out. I said, God, please, help me, guide me somewhere where I can seek help. And because there's got to be a better way than this. I just gotten out of a really tumultuous relationship. Hurricane Sandy had just rolled through New Jersey. I'd lost my home. I was $154,000 in debt. I filed for bankruptcy because I couldn't pay that money, and I really needed help. And I reached out to a holistic psychiatrist who took me under her wing and took one look at me and said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, Greg. You're just a victim of lies and falsehood. And she goes, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. It's going to take a little time, but I'm going to help you. Number one, detox from these horrible drugs. We're going to wean you off little by little. And I'm going to guide you to a more holistic and more natural path. And even when she gave me that diagnosis, I was still a little hesitant because I was afraid. I was truly in perpetual fear of what I would be without all of this, without the veil, right? Because you're so used to that. Even though you want to break free from it, when someone actually tells you they're going to help you break free, you're like, whoa, but what am I going to be without that? So that was a process that I had to go through, as well as surrendering, not just to God, but to an angel that he had put before me that wanted to help. And once I did that, the process began of unchaining and unshackling me from this horrible cloak that had been over top of me throughout, most of my life up until that point. But it was an amazing thing because it ignited a passion within me for all things holistic and natural. Especially when I started doing the detox from these drugs, and I was taking burdock root and dandelion and aloe vera and flushing myself out. I felt really, really good, and I started feeling lighter and lighter, and just thinking with a bit more clarity. And as more and more of the drugs just continued to flush out, it was just an amazing feeling. I finally felt like I was somewhat of myself. I wasn't fully there yet, but I was somewhat of myself, and I was able to think clearly enough to look back on everything and say, wow, what a mess. What an absolute mess. But in doing so, in doing all of this detox and in following her instructions, and also with the help of another angel in my life, I had jumped from one relationship to another at that point in time, which was just another, crazy decision. But nevertheless, that woman was the tough love angel, and she essentially ended the physical aspect of the relationship and told me to get my shit together, which I was, but to also get everything else together. And she says, you can't live with me for too much longer. I'm going to give you $5,000. You're going to pay me back, but I'm going to give you $5,000. And this is what you got to start over. So you use this to go get a new place to live and to get everything you need to start over. And that's it. So I had two interventions. I had I guess you could say that they were two stern interventions, but one of them was a really, really tough intervention, because when I got everything together and I was finally, back on my own feet and back on my own again, it felt really, really lonely. And I felt naked and raw and just very, very vulnerable. Because at that point, it was, as Robin, as you said, it's just me. It was literally just me. There was nothing else. It was me and an empty apartment. That's it. And I could hear the echoes because I didn't have anything, because I spent the $5,000 just to get the apartment. And now I had to work to pay that back. And I had to work on my bankruptcy, which was a good thing, because I didn't have the financial stress of anything on me anymore. But I had to take a really good look in the mirror, and I came to the conclusion that I have to just accept and surrender to this me being alone and me being in this empty space, and to separate from everything else and to just be me and work on myself and finally get to know myself. Step away from relationships, step even away from making friends, just have no distractions whatsoever and just be me. And I did that for a period of about 2.5 to 3 years, just working on myself, going to the financial classes every single day, watching the videos, filling out the paperwork, checking in with all my attorneys, making sure everything was okay, working 2 jobs, paying into the bankruptcy, making my payments, doing this, doing that, just getting everything together and working on myself as much as I could. Now, the alcohol was still very much an addiction there because I was still coping with everything else. So God wasn't going to give me an intervention on the alcohol. All right. I had to figure that one out for myself. And reason being is because I was by myself and I had the opportunity to know thyself. So God was like, well, I've given you that opportunity. You have to figure that one out. So that took me another 5 years before I acknowledged the fact that I had a serious issue with alcohol. And you've hit rock bottom with alcohol when you get completely plastered to the point of where you're just deathly sick with alcohol. And then you wake up the next morning and you start drinking again. That's when whoa, I really, really, really have a problem here. This needs to stop. And I just trusted God and I threw it up to him and I said, please, I need help with this. It'll happen on in due time, but I need a little assistance with this because, it's just so inundated with me. I don't know if I can stop. And it took, 6 months after that, but 6 months after that of just weaning off and drinking less and less, woke up one day, I just said, no more. And it just like that, just stopped. I never looked back. And I can't tell you, once I stopped, how many doors just started opening. It was just beautiful. I completely embraced the holistic life. After that, I met a wonderful herbalist who helped kind of, continued to help guide me back. And I fully stepped into my authentic space and into my power. And I truly realized, the creator that I can be. I truly realized, how much of a heart that I do have and how bright I can shine if I simply just, let go and let God and just, just step forward into that power. It's an amazing thing. It truly is. So yeah, my journey was a tumultuous one, and I said it had multiple layers of addictions that I had to kind of work through. Alcohol being, the biggest one, because keep in mind the alcohol suppresses all the other addictions too, and it goes to the forefront and becomes that one addiction. And once you alleviate that, then you start seeing all the other ones that were kept under the rug, and then you can start working on those. And that's what I started doing. I started working on those once the alcohol was kicked, and my herbalist really, really helped me do that, because with the way that his approach and how he tackled the issue is he tackled my soul, my spirit, because that's what was hurting the most amongst everything else. It wasn't the physical body, because I was lean, I was trim, I was fit, I was athletic. So there was nothing wrong there. It was the spirit that was broken. It was the soul that was wounded. And that's what he focused on. And that's what he told me, this is what you have to focus on. If you can strengthen your spirit and you can mend your soul, everything else will fall into place. And it has. And it has. And it's truly, with addictions, I just want to end with this. It truly is mind over matter. It really is. It is mind over matter. You can do this. You can break your addictions. You can, and you can step into your own power. It truly is mind over matter. If you can find the root cause of where it all stems from, that's more than half the battle. And you can begin upon that journey of healing.
Thank you, Greg. Wow, what a story. I'm so proud of you for just opening up, being so vulnerable, and just your story is going to help so many people. And like, for real. And I know both Robin and Nicola, we've got the chills. So I feel like crying right now, but I'm going to do that after, okay? So Robin, if you want to jump in and share a little bit, and then we're going to go to Nicola as well. So thank you, Greg. I got the tears in my eyes, and I know the audience does too. So
yeah, that was amazing, Greg. Thank you so much. The point that really got me was the intervention when that angel came into your life and said, I'm going to help you, and realizing that I'm going to be helped. Someone else is seeing value and worth in me. That's quite a moment to accept. And in that moment, you did the right thing. You submitted and you accepted the help. You didn't turn your back. And wow, look at who you've become. And what an inspiration. And as you spoke, I really started to kind of get a clear picture that there may be two kind of categories that we can fall into in that self-abusive realm. Escapism, and yes, I understand that's what I was suffering from. Devina's right. What are we running from? Us extreme athletes. And when I gave that more consideration, yeah, we're running from our human vulnerabilities. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be weak. We don't want to have our feelings hurt. So if we can run fast and maintain that pace, look how strong and steady I can be. Look at how durable I am. So it's fear of our truths, of the human self, of the vulnerable part of the human self. So trying to escape that. And then there's the self-destruction. The idea that human self has no worth. Therefore, you need to continually reinforce that idea by destroying the self through substance, through activities, right? Setting up scenarios where you'll consistently come out as the loser. You've given your energy, but you don't get it back. That's what I mean by loser, right? So you set up scenarios and circumstances in which everything depends upon it, but you've sabotaged yourself to reinforce that idea that you don't deserve it. So yeah, it really is. I don't want to say fear. It's difficulty of the soul being incarnate. That pain, a lack of understanding of purpose, of self and why we're here, can really lead to these two expressions that I'm feeling here. And yeah, I was really trying to escape the human version of self. That's why I wanted to make it better and better. I was trying to escape the old version that was weaker. And that's an addiction in itself. And it's not until you, like Greg was saying, till you have hit rock bottom that you can start building out of something with substance. Because everything before, if we don't have an understanding of truth within, understanding, then it is all fiction. Our identity is built on lies and fabrications and things we plucked from the societal environment that others have idolized, and we take that on and project that as our persona and our identity to cover up the fact that I don't know what my identity is. So yeah, confidence in self. How do we build that? We know the building point is acknowledging that we have these thoughts and ideas that we're not worthy. But how do we convince ourselves that we are? There's always going to be distractions, and that's what we're talking about, the distraction of addiction. So how do we effectively heal without just replacing the addiction? I have my own ideas. Of course, I never want to offend anyone, but Alcohol Anonymous and the STEPS program, it's right in the wording. It's a program. It's not the cure for the disease. It's a program to replace the addictive behavior. So yes, it may be effective in getting one out of the environment that they're constantly exposed to alcohol, but it's putting you in an environment where you're constantly being reinforced that you're a victim of alcohol. And you're going to meetings, and yes, it helps to express, but you start to, like Greg said, you start to believe that about yourself. Maybe you were just heartbroken, and that was just a tool you used to ignore your broken heart. You're not really an alcoholic. Really, it's just you're a lover, and the love of your life left you. And it was your coping mechanism, right? So you don't need training on how to let go of alcohol. You need training on allowing God to love you, so you can allow what your partner was reflecting to you to be felt and acquired and expressed within for the self, not just through the others. That's what we use our external environment for, is to supply us with the things that we believe we're not able to provide for ourselves. So I think, yeah, it's so important to really acknowledge, am I abusing and addicted to alcohol, or is it my escape mechanism? And those that are in AA, understand that you are not an alcoholic. The program is helping you reprogram the belief that you are. But true self-love is what's going to actually get you out of those meetings and feeling like that's a part of my life I can leave behind, not one that I consistently have to maintenance. Otherwise, it's going to come back and haunt me, right? We don't want to live a life where we're constantly propping up our buildings, worrying every moment that they're going to fall down, that's no way to live. So that's just escaping the addiction, really, right? We have to truly acknowledge it in order to allow healing to be present.
Thank you, Robin. Wow, so beautiful. You guys are the bomb. I love it. Nicola, any thoughts and reflections, please?
Yes. Vulnerability, broken inner child, all the sufferings, whether it be subconscious that's imposed upon us, and how do we tackle this? I mean, it's inevitable. Everybody, I don't think there's anybody that hasn't had an addiction. If minimum an escape from pain.
Yeah, I just want to say something. You know, the system, the 3D world that we live in, it's designed in such a way that we are constantly, you know, the 9 to 5, the escapism, the addictions. Look around you. We're all addicted to something or the other, whether it's technology, whether it's your iPhone, whether it's alcohol, whether it's women or sex or men or whatever. I'm also in recovery from actually, as a teenager, I used to be bulimic. So we've all got these issues, but these don't change. I mean, right now I'm trying to become a vegetarian, but I find that I'm addicted to meat. So I'm like, I want to change that, but it takes a lot of mindfulness, and that's why we're doing this roundtable today. So Nicola, back to you. Sorry about cutting you off.
No, fine. No, it's absolutely, that's where I was going. We're in this 3D system that is as if it's against us. You know, we're just plunged into this struggle, and we don't have the answers. We're not born with the instruction book, you know, and so we are vulnerable. And I also believe that just being here on Earth is a planet of lesson. It is a learning process, but the pain, that merry-go-round, just that, how do you get out of it until you do reach rock bottom? And as a mother, now I have my 4 children growing, and obviously through my overcoming a lot of my experiences, through a lot of hard work, and also, as in your case, Greg, and I've had amazing people in my past that I've recognized, that crossed my path to pull me out, because I have said, God, you know, that there must be a way out of this, please. I've reached out, you know. You somehow, when you come to a point where life can't be this, then when you start to question, there must be more than this. And but it's that decision, and it's our choice, our free will, through the pain. As soon as we just decree and make that decision, help arrives and the synchronicities start, and then we take the first step. But your story, Greg, I'm so proud of you, honestly. And I know there are so many people around the world right now. I think we've been plunged into an abyss of confusion and everything. So, brother, this is, and Robin, your beautiful techniques, and Devina, all of us just being so open and generous with sharing the pain, because we need to connect with people to show them it can be done. We've all overcome, and please, there's hope. There are incredible people stretching out their hand to you, and when you share your story, people start to connect and they can identify, and then they'll look into how you overcame. How did you change your diet? What practices did you get into? This is such a catalyst 2020 and where we're going, because we are all amazing. Just hope for everyone who's still, in that hole. And they know that there are people waiting and welcoming, and we love you. The love that's growing between light workers and people who have reached overcome their addictions and found themselves. The love between us, honestly, the ripple is so beautiful, and we're really open-armed, and we're all here to help. And we're connecting like wildfire. It's amazing. And so my heart, my compassion is people reach out, take the first step, and there's lots of help and ever-growing help out there for you.
Thank you, Nicola. And I want to come back to another point, and we'll go around this as well. What has been the most instrumental thing in overcoming an addiction, whether it is running or whether it is alcohol or bulimia or love addiction, or Nicola's talking about being sovereign and finding your true identity. So what is the one thing, Robin, that you had to kind of look beyond?
For me personally, it was definitely finding purpose, and knowing that I was a spiritual being, and everything I thought of and identified with being human was brought into question. I really didn't see why or what point there was in achieving something in the human realm, essentially, right? Like I had to give up on the idea of being a mechanical engineer and things like that. And when I really investigated and did a year of college, I was like, yeah, I don't want to sit in front of a computer all my life. Data analysis. No, I want to design. I want to create, right? So I guess finding purpose was instrumental. And the only way I got a tap into what my purpose was connecting with spirit. And identifying into past lives, I found that I had very strong purpose in those lives. I was constantly trying to expose the lies and the veil that we live under as humans, because it is very oppressive. And this is where a lot of the pain stems from, is the oppression of the male, or the father aspect over the mother aspect. We're not joining together in unison. The male isn't fertilizing the feminine and propagating. It's taking from it and demanding it produces more and putting it in a cage, because in a cage it's predictable. That's why we prune trees and things like that, right? So connecting with spirit, I found out, oh my gosh, I have a scar on my soul, and I really took stuff personally. And because of that, I've been so determined to hit back at that energy that lied to me and caused me to harm others, believing I was good. I wanted to counteract that energy. So I projected a conflictory energy back toward the control network, essentially. And in this lifetime, through going through past life healings, I learned that I deprived myself of love over and over in incarnations, because I was so hell-bent on stopping the oppression, because the oppression was the cause of pain, which prevents love from being present. So in trying to prevent the bad guys from taking love away, I didn't experience it. Only in one lifetime that I can remember did I have a family and love. All the others, I was determined to get things done and expose the truth. So in this lifetime, what got me out of the addiction to prove that the bad guys were controlling us, because that was another expression of my addictive behavior. Because if I could prove that and everyone saw that, then it would be fixed. My pain would be gone. My soul would be healed. But thankfully, God enlightened me and my spirit guides that, Robin, what if the greatest way to conquer evil and get back at the bad guys is to create love? Because the more you project energy toward it, the more it has to work with to resist you. So if you unplug from that and create a venue of love, then it can't touch it. And when it tries to interfere, it's diffused. So through spiritual, I guess, insight, I learned, okay. So if I really want to kick Satan in the balls, so to speak, the worst thing I could do is to not fight. It's to turn my back on the fight and that journey, and open my arms and embrace my equal, that will embrace me equally. And I knew her right off the bat. That's my Leah, right? That's my twin flame. So I understood, okay, in this lifetime, this is my purpose. It is to be a family man. It's to be a father. It's to express myself through love. And the only other lifetime I had, Leah was my spouse in that lifetime as well. And 2 of our children were our children in that life. And I've been shown that this is completion of that former life. We didn't get to complete that one. So this is the chance. So it was spiritual insight into my purpose of this incarnatory lifetime. And that's what led to me accepting the human Robin, who he is in this lifetime. Otherwise, I was constantly on a kick to transcend this human form. So I never really valued him. And that's why the illness. That's why the lessons I brought into my life. It was to value the human version, not to escape it and transcend it. And that's why I'm so blessed to share that. It's such an amazing message to hear that what God is wanting me to just be this version of me. Devina, you're perfect in every aspect. I only see your beauty and your perfection. Nicola as well. Greg, you opened my heart with your words. Absolutely majestic. And that's it. It's love, right? Love was the result of me finding the purpose. That was the reward. And really, is there any other cure?
Thank you, Robin. I'm just today. I don't know what's wrong. Is it full moon? Because I'm bawling again. And something that I write about is that each of us here, each of us who's listening on the replay, but also on the live show, we're all perfect the way we are. And then the goal is to get to the next level of perfection. So that means that accepting, knowing who you are, knowing, your weaknesses, your bright side, and then practicing radical self-acceptance. Because when we have acceptance of ourselves, we can also be accepting of others. So it's all about it all starts with self-knowledge. It really does. And just beautiful, Robin. Like, I have no words right now. But thank you. And I want to come back to, we if we get a chance, maybe today, if not, we'll do another show, Robin, about the divine feminine and the sacred masculine, because that's a really important one. And I know that so many of our audience is also into that as well. So Greg, we're gonna go to you. And what's the one thing that helps you in overcoming your addiction? I know you've already spoken about this, but I just want to have that insight again.
Well, there were numerous things that aided my journey in overcoming addiction. I can pinpoint two in particular that were very negative, heartbreaking situations, but nevertheless became learning tools for self-reflection. Okay, and these two events really allowed me to look at myself and to go within and to truly see the real issue and the real problem. My father suffered from addiction throughout a lot of his life as well, and he lost that battle. I think it's now it's about 5-6 years ago. He lost that battle with addiction. That was heart-wrenching for me, because during his I'll call it during his addiction period, when it really ramped up, when my parents got divorced, because my mother couldn't live with that, and when it really ramped up, when you're in risk of being taken down with them, okay, because addiction is can be a very selfish disease. I was at a point where I was not only living, a few states away, but it was so bad on his end that there was really nothing I could do to help him. So I had to separate myself from that. And when you initially do that, you're okay with it because you're looking out for yourself, and you don't want you don't want to get hurt. You're protecting yourself, so you separate yourself. And you don't even at once think that, well, tomorrow could be the day, So for 5 years, I had that separation from him. We would talk every now and then, and he was always there for me, when I really needed him. But there was still that inability to truly, connect. And those 5 years were essentially weren't lost, but there was no love there for those 5 years. And when he finally lost his battle, and was put to rest, the grief and the anguish were just beyond overwhelming. Because not only was I dealing with the separation and the fact that I couldn't, be there for him, but now he was officially gone, and there was literally nothing I could do. So what that did is that truly made me see that I was heartbroken, not just over him, but over everything in my life. Everything. It was just, I was suffering of a broken heart. And I felt it that day when I stood over his casket and was weeping, and the priest had to pull me off the casket so they could put him into the ground. I wouldn't let go. I felt my soul just split into pieces. That's when I knew the core of the problem. I was heartbroken over everything, over my childhood, over my teenage years, over everything that I had been through, over the relationships, over the decisions. everything that had taken course in my life, I was heartbroken. That's what the problem was. That's where the addiction stemmed from. It was trying to suppress that brokenness. It was trying to cover up that shattered glass. That's what it was. And that was the beginning of the end for the addiction. It took time, but that was at least the recognizing of what it was, what the core of it was. Now, when there's a strong addiction attached to that, again, it takes time because you keep, trying to suppress it. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes 5 years, right? Because that's how time works. The second thing for me was my work life. I had been working for a major university here in the state of New Jersey for 12 plus years, and I was a union representative, and I was also an events manager for the university. So very high stress, lots going on. But when you're dealing with different factions of management and with unionization of workers, and there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of evil, there's a lot of backstabbing, there's a lot of just nonsense going on that no matter how hard you try, you just end up getting pulled into, right? You can't get away from it. And that really, really affected my life. It affected my personal life with my wonderful fiance, who understood, thank God, and just, let it go and was always there for me. But it really contributed to the drinking as well too, because we all know after a really rotten day of work, what do we want to do? We want to forget it, right? And the best way to forget it is alcohol, or rather the easiest way, not the best way to forget. The easiest way is alcohol. So after 12 years of doing that and dealing with just all that unnecessary stress and being dragged into situations that I didn't want to be dragged into, it made me realize, hey, this is also contributing to my drinking. My work life is also broken and is in tatters. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I can't take this anymore. My heart can't take this anymore. It's already, our heart is a filter, and it filters a lot on a daily basis. I was getting, high blood pressure and panic attacks and palpitations and just chest pains. And I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. My heart doesn't resonate with this type of lifestyle at all anymore. I can't do this. I don't care how much money I'm making, because the money was really, really good. It wasn't even about that anymore. I actually said, I'll go broke before I show up another day at this place. It's just not worth it anymore. So those two things were very, very powerful teaching tools, and again, it took time, because I had to take steps with the work life to make that change. I had to finally, look at that and just say, I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm going to find something else. And thank God I did. But they're teaching tools. It's not going to happen instantaneously. Sometimes it does, but it's that moment of recognizing, I was broken, not just the heart, but myself. I was broken in many different ways and on many different levels. And I had to at least make two major changes. If I could make these two major changes or take these two major steps, I could clear my path, and then maybe I can start working on everything else, all the things that are underneath that have been suppressed by the addictions, right? If I can take these two positive steps forward and put myself in a better place, then just maybe I can, again, start working on all the other layers. And that turned out to be more than true, because when the stress of that work life was alleviated, I was closer to home. I was just not in that toxic environment anymore where nothing was ever asked of me personally. I just showed up, clocked in, and did my job and clocked out and went home. Finally able to breathe. All that pressure alleviated from my chest, and I didn't need the alcohol anymore because I just was happier and in a better space. And just the simplicity of being 8 minutes from my own home, that alone lifted massive amounts of weight off my shoulders. Being able to come home and actually spend quality time with my loving fiance and not have to run in and run back out and go back to work to go do overtime. And I'll be back at like 6 a.m. the next morning, and actually having a proper work schedule where I could come home and breathe and have downtime and have time to just think, or to not even think, as Charlie says, to take no thought, to have that time of stillness and silence and take no thought. So those two events were two massive teaching tools that, again, took time, but allowed me to at least recognize what the true problem was. And the true problem is that not only was my heart broken, but my entire being was broken. And I had to take steps to put that back together, to mend the broken spirit and to heal the broken soul. So these events that take place in our lives are tragic, but they are gifts if we choose to perceive them that way. And if we choose to, it's all about perception. We can perceive them as horrible things. And yes, they are. My father dying was terrible, especially in the way that he went. And that day was horrible. It really, really was. And it didn't make it any better that everyone was drinking too. So that just made it so much worse. And yes, my work life was terrible. Yes, I dealt with a lot of nonsense, a lot of stress. I dealt with people that I don't ever want to accept energy from ever again, ever. But again, we go through these things because without darkness, there can't be light. They're here to teach us to rise and to achieve that ultimate balance between the both. And also, what they also taught me too is just to accept myself, and that I do have flaws, and that, I am who I am. Sometimes, I have a little, ADHD in me as well. Again, and the drugs and the alcohol have affected my memory and recall. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I do things naturally to help heal that. That's why I became an herbalist. That's why I went back to school, because in order to truly heal those damaged parts, you have to challenge them. You literally have to put yourself back into the classroom and challenge yourself. That's the best way to heal, is to put your feet on the burning coals and just take a deep breath and just walk across. Just do it. It's the best way to heal. Throw yourself into the fire, because you will rise from the ashes. You will have that phoenix moment where you rise from the ashes. That's what all these things, taught me to do. If I'm wounded in some way, throw myself into it. Put my feet on the fire. Can't ignore it anymore. Can't add another addiction to the plate. That's not going to fix it. It's just going to, suppress it, and it'll be there tomorrow. In fact, it's still there even when you're suppressing it. It's still there. It doesn't go away. The only way to truly heal yourself is to make those steps, to step onto the burning coals, surrender, take a deep breath, and just trust that God will guide you, and that you yourself will guide you. You all have a moral compass. It's all there. It's all the tools we have or within us, they're all here. We just have to embrace the good in us and the bad, and step onto those coals and take that walk, take that leap of faith.
Beautiful, Greg. And the word that stands out is embrace. I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to meditate on that. So thank you. Beautiful. No words right now. Nicola, please go ahead.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
One very useful and very enlightening practice that I realized through my pain. I used to ask myself, why is this happening to me? What have I done to deserve this? Am I a victim? What did I do to attract? Why didn't I have my father growing up with me? My parents divorced when I was 3. And so I never had a father figure. And I know maybe I was a little bit of a rebel because of that. I didn't have a father and I used to have to stand on my own 2 feet. I don't know. It was just my journey. Also, when I was a single mom, and that was a choice. I chose to keep my daughter. And so that's when my life took off, because after all my lessons, all my pain, loneliness, I never fitted in with the norm, with the general run of things. I was quite reserved, and I didn't want to be in any dramas. I tried to avoid a lot of things, maybe not to get hurt, to run away, or maybe it was avoidance. I don't know. But all I can remember, that through the loneliness, through the hurt, through like the guiltiness, have I been so bad? Did I cause this? Or, anyone can ask these questions. And as soon as I stopped and looked and truly knew I didn't ask for these things, because situations happen to us. We are victims. But as soon as I saw this, no, I didn't choose this. But from now on, now I get to choose. And so the only way to get out of it is realizing exactly what we can do, the next step, the choices we can make to turn it around. And so obviously, if it's an addiction with drugs, then we reach out and we get help, and we wean ourselves off of any addiction. If it's food, obviously, our choice is to stop, go into silence, meditate, and you just say, I choose a better diet. I choose to get healthy. And I will find people who have overcome, and I will get positive people around me. And so you have to choose a different environment. And literally in very little time you can come out of these addictions, and the forgiveness is there. You forgive others because you know that our systems, our conditionings are, it's society. You forgive others because not everyone asks for this, but they don't know. And then when you forgive yourself, it's such a gift. And the relief and pressure falls off, and because you have that choice, then the guidance comes. So the choice, this is the first step. Make that decision. And then everything, as I said, God will rearrange your life and bring you the right people, synchronicities. You will hear in a song, you will read an article, a person, you will overhear a conversation. Something will cross your path to bring you something better, a new experience to help you out of what you've asked to choose better for.
Thank you so much. I mean, forgiveness, professional help, connecting with yourself. I mean, so many things, guys. And, you know, the first step is always acknowledgement that there is possibly a lack, possibly an escape or a coping mechanism. And then from there, using the gifts that you have to overcome the things that you don't like about yourself. So I'm working on myself, I promise. So next week I might tell you that I haven't, you know, eaten meat in a month. So let's hope. But thank you guys, and we're coming to the end of our show today. And yes, it is the full moon, and Leah pointed it out. Full moon Leo at 9 degrees. So if you are feeling a little bit extra energy, lowness, accept that it is also part of the cycle that we are going through. So thank you. We're going to go around the table and just close the show. So Robin, let's start with you. Any last thoughts? Where can people find you, or anything else that you want to share?
Hi guys. Yeah, I don't have a lot of accessibility online right now. I stay. Yeah, my phone it's difficult for me to be on it. So
You're smart, Robin.
Yeah, my vibration doesn't sync with the technology, and my fingers and the energy with touch screens. It's a nightmare sometimes. So yeah. I guess future shows and things like that. When the time is right, I'm feeling the calling, and yourself and Greg. When the information's ready to present itself, it'll find its way to you. Trust in that for sure. Acceptance of self, and that God has chosen you to be you. And flawlessly you. And that means shining the light into all those areas that you believe are hold your darkness. Because when you do, all kinds of truths and things will be revealed. And then you gain understandings. And that's how you build upon the self. So realizing you're broken, that you're just the bare bones. Absolutely. Step one, it's not comfortable, but it's so worth the journey. Look at Greg, what an example, my goodness. Individuals like Nicola and myself getting to help people heal. Find individuals in your area. If we're doing it, there's 100,000 others of us out there doing it too. So ask your friends, and when they say, oh, hey, maybe you should try this person, trust it. Take someone up on that. God speaks to us through the hearts of others. And if you're compelled to say something to someone, trust it. If you rub them the wrong way, understand that, okay, maybe their ego wasn't ready for that information yet, but know that it's their ego. And maybe they were supposed to get agitated, and later they'll be frustrated at home and think about it, and then it will sink in. That may be the hardest thing, is to allow things to truly sink in. And you're providing a beautiful venue for people to feel, Devina, and connect with the different stories. I've gained so much just by being an observer, and I'm so blessed to be here. I can't express any more joy than what I'm feeling right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Leah, for the special twin flame energy. We loved it, right, everybody? I know everybody's enjoying that, because we speak a lot about twin flame reunions here as well. So we're gonna have Robin back, and we're gonna have Greg back, and we're gonna have Nicola back. promise you. So just make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You're following the updates on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And now we're going to go to Nicola. Nicola, just any last closing thoughts, and where can people find you, of course?
Thank you, everybody. It's been such an awesome pleasure to be on today. And wow, I absolutely love the insights from a divine masculine insight from you two amazing guys, Robin and Galactic Greg. I love the energy that you've shared. And this is the biggest teaching that I'm going to be launching for the divine feminine and the divine masculine to come together. I'm launching a new program called the Blissful Breath and Blissful Birthing. It's coming soon. I'm working on my website, but I am actually still on Facebook, Instagram, but exciting things coming. And trust in yourself. God, wherever you are now, trust in yourself. Things appear when we're ready. The right people will appear when we're ready. And you are the teacher. Even in your darkness, you're a teacher to someone, because there is always going to be someone a little worse off than you that can take a bit of your wisdom, of your experience you've overcome. So trust yourself and just connect with people.
Thank you so much. And before we go to Greg, I just want to quickly share something, because Nicola, you've been talking about being a rebel, and actually my job, so I'm on a dating application because I'm single. So I'm on a dating application, and my job description there is rebel. So a lot of us are relating to that, right? I mean, it's hard to meet people, no wonder, and it's harder when you are in a in a lockdown and everything. But we got to have that faith over ourselves that our twin flame, our soulmate, our partner is also looking for us, right? So we're going to do another show about this, and actually I have a show coming up with Jen McCarty next week, and then
I can't wait.
And I have a show coming up with Charlie Freak. So just check those upcoming shows out as well. And we're going to go to Greg now, and Greg has a beautiful new website. Greg, tell us all about it, please. Hold on, Greg. Why can we not hear you? So Greg's new website is called www.11nature.com. And I'm going to try to pull it up because Greg is somehow muted. So let's see that. Greg, can you hear us? Oh. So there we go, guys. Let's see. We seem to have lost Greg, but here is 11 Nature. So if you can make sure that you check this out, it's Greg's and his fiance's new website, 11 Nature. Greg, are you there? Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to wait for Greg to see if he can come back, but we really appreciate everybody who's here. So thank you once again. And of course, I want to say thank you to everybody who is here sharing this video, joining in, but also just sharing your love and your time and space with us. It means a lot to us. And I'm going to say that on behalf of Greg, who is probably very frustrated right now because he can't say goodbye. And we're going to give it a few more minutes. Robin and Nicola, do you have anything to say about technology? Go ahead, please jump in. We're going to try to get Greg back in.
Yeah, I think you're muted there, Nicola. It was designed to control us, and it's a thing bringing us together. So yeah, that's the one thing the divider can never account for, is the thing that unifies. It's looking to be the solvent, and love is the glue. So yes, like Nicola was saying, trust yourself. If you have a feeling, if you have an idea in your head, I should say this, I should say this, that's your spirit guides wanting your heart to open up to another, or it's their spirit guide wanting to use you as a voice box. So welcome that. You get to play a role in God's plan. So yeah, trust that plan, God's plan inside, right?
Thank you, Robin. Greg, can you hear us now? Maybe you can. No, we can't hear you, Greg. Try now without the microphone. You know what? Greg's been telling me that he's been having technology issues yesterday also. So who knows what this is? Like Robin said, technology, social media especially, has been designed to keep us, control us, and spy on us, right? So make sure that you use it as long as it serves your purpose.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Greg,
I use one of my spirit guides to help with technology.
Hello.
Okay, Greg, last words before we end the show.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, man.
We hear you, Greg, but Greg can't hear us. So it's time for a chuckle and no stress, because this is part of the journey about letting go and letting God, right? So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for sharing. Greg, are you there? Come on your phone to say bye to us, because we miss you. We love you. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll be back. And in the meantime, please make sure that you are subscribed to the sexybrilliant.org, our nonprofit's email list at sexybrilliant.com as well. And once again, we really appreciate all of you being here. We are committed to removing toxic shame. And today's show was very much about overcoming addictions. Greg opened up so beautifully, and Nicola as well as Robin. And I'm in recovery from addiction. So we're all in this, and our journey is to not leave anybody behind. So Greg is back.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
All right.
Can you
Good.
mute the other TV that is on or something?
I'm sorry?
Is there something behind you that's on?
No. Nothing at all.
Just add your last words.
Yeah. The two websites are galacticinnature.com and 11nature.com. Galactic in Nature is going to be essentially my new home, because Facebook took me down for 30 days, and I kind of feel it's time to step away from that and to be in a place that's pure and that can feel like home for everyone without, big bad, big tech looking over at everyone's shoulder. So the website is up and running. All my videos from YouTube will be also brought over there as well. There'll be blogs, posts, prayers, information, everything everybody needs. And it's just going to be a portal to God, a place where everyone can go and connect to the Prime Creator and connect with self and connect with soul. And so, yeah. So thank you, Devina, for having me today. Apologies for the tech issues, but so wonderful to be here with Robin and Nicola. I love you so much, and Robin, love you, and Devina, love you. And that's what it's all about, guys. It's all about coming together sharing that.
It is. It's all about coming together, and we are one, and we're not leaving anybody behind. Where we go one, we go all. So I want to say thank you to everybody once again. And also, all the show notes and all the websites are going to be there in the comments. So please check that out. And thank you once again for being here. I love you, and we'll be back next week with another show. Thank you so much. Bye.